like I'm Sonny Crockett. Play with me, that's a risk. Gold chain, match the wrist. All white fit, Sonny Crockett from the Vice, yeah, it's pricey. I ain't tryna hear you whine while I'm dining. Telling yo, I ain't tryna hear you, I'ma tell yo. Play with me, I'm knocking like a stereo. Play with me, I'm knocking like a stereo.
Anybody for a picture, shawty, nothing else, I'm tryna be persuasive. I know all my haters on a first name basis. I'm the type to steal the flows from. Whoa, they the type to want my income. I think that I've had enough of jealousy and entertaining. No, I'm never giving up, I'ma start this in the making. No, I'm never giving up, I'ma start this in the making.
Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. I'm with the gang, we packing. We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoe, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas key. You with me, sheesh. But need cheap keep.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Bitcoin just going sideways, guys. It's just going sideways. We're kind of just bing-bonging around in our local range that we were looking at yesterday. And I want to take a look at Market Cypher B with you guys. And specifically, I want to take a look at the liquidations. I want to take a look at the liquidation heat maps and talk about the next major areas of liquidity that we have sitting above. And maybe we'll take a look at the ones below, although they are very, very low here. But I want to take a look at the liquidation heat maps, guys, and kind of talk about, as Bitcoin goes sideways, just kind of talk about what I'm looking at next. We'll take a look at the local levels and kind of try to figure out how we're going to potentially put in a bottom here. Are we going to finally come up, guys? I'm going to try to break it down for you today. But as of right now, guys, not too much going on. Just kind of going sideways in that local range. For a fun fact, Bitcoin is 0.4% lower than it was yesterday on this live stream at this exact same time. But shout out to the Mafia. We're going to be showing you those saucy key levels. We're going to break down those volume profiles for you guys so you know where we're going to be looking at for those bounces and potentially those rejections. So shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Let's see. We got Cuz I Can Bump It in the chat, or Koozie Can as I like to call him. Let's see. We got Aaron in the chat. What is going on, bro? Yo, shout out to Aaron says, I want to take a look at Mrs. Candles one more time before we proceed. Lucky for you, Aaron, Mrs. Candles is in the studio here. Mrs. Candles, come on over here. Come on. I got to help her up. Hang on. She's deflated. She's weak right now, guys. We'll show a little bit of Mrs. Candles. That's a little bit weird. Oh, God, now her shirt's coming off. Oh, my God, Mrs. Candles, cover up here. We got Mrs. She's a little deflated. She doesn't want to show her face today, but Woo! You could see the wrinkles in her hand, guys. She needs to be inflated here. But hopefully that sniff will pump Bitcoin here on the live stream, guys. But shout out to Aaron. We got the Godfather in the chat. Show him some respect. You got to respect the Godfather, guys. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for being here. We got Mike Vito, my paisan, said what a rug pull OM was. Pretty interesting. Maybe we'll take a look at that and. Yeah, I don't know what there really is to look at on that chart, but maybe we'll take a look at it just to see that giant red candle. We got Dave in the chat. Dave Hagen, not Dave Digital. Shout out to Dave Digital, though. We got JR in the chat. What is going on, bro? We got K Diggity, as always, shouting out Phoebe. Shout out to K Diggity. Welcome in, bro. We got Jesse, the like police. If he asks you to like that, hit that like button, guys. Respect the like police, and shout out to Jesse. We appreciate you. And, guys, before we jump into the charts, we need everybody to spam birthday cakes in the chat for Captain Kirk, CandleMafia Mama. It was her birthday. I think on the 11th it was. So drop those birthday cakes in the chat. We didn't wish her a CandleMafia happy birthday, so spam those cakes in the chat and show Captain Kirk how much you love her. And shout out the other mods as well. But yeah, let's show some extra love to Captain Kirk in the chat today. Drop those birthday cakes. And while you guys are doing that, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. Oh, man. So here we are, guys. And obviously, yesterday we kind of looked at the longer-term situation here with Bitcoin as we did come down to our key level of support, which, as you guys know, was the weekly naked point of control / there's those birthday cakes. I just see the chat start flying with those birthday cakes. Let's go. Happy birthday, Captain Kirk. We love you, and we are so happy that you are the CandleMafia Mama. You've been with us since day one, so shout out to Captain Kirk. Show her some extra love. Let's go. Let's go. Shout out to Lasers HPD Cap. Let's go, baby. Look at the candles in the chat, or not the candles in the chat. Look at the cake with the candles. Interesting. But yeah, shout out to Captain Kirk. Happy birthday. And look at the cakes in there for you. Let's go. The CandleMafia loves you, Cap. Let's jump in here real quick, guys. So yesterday we were looking at kind of a potential, maybe a significant macro bottom coming in here, not necessarily automatically anticipating new all-time highs, although that is a potential scenario we could see play out. And the reason we were looking at that was just simply because we have been waiting forever to come down and hit this 786 Fibonacci retracement. I'm going to try to cover this pretty quickly, guys, because this is kind of repetitive at this point. But as there's not really much to update here on the charts locally, I'm just going to kind of talk about this for 2 seconds, right? So we came down to that 786, and we have put in some macro bullish divergences. We have that nice daily bull div, which is actually been confirmed for quite some time. But we also have that 2-day bull div looking to print here. We have the 3-day bull div printing, and we also have the 4-day bull div printing as well. 5-day green dot, 6-day green dot, and our weekly green dot printing, which we have been waiting for forever. And I would say, guys, with these bullish divergences coming in at such a key level of support, this could potentially be the start of a macro bottom. Now, again, I'm not necessarily automatically anticipating new all-time highs. We know we have those major levels of resistance above, sitting around 96 to 97K, and then even 90 to 91,000 are kind of the next major levels of resistance. And that's kind of what we're going to be looking at. If we do retrace, we have to be very, very careful around those key levels of resistance in case we are going to see this weekly money flow just come up and put in a lower high. And I hate to say this, guys. Every time we look at this money flow, potentially looking to put in a lower high and continue to the downside, right? Like if we see this come up a little bit on that green dot, especially if we continue to retrace, this would not be unlikely to see that money flow kind of peak to the upside a little bit. But we have to be careful because even though it comes up, we could potentially just put in a lower high, and that would just give us that general trend to the downside, which would be very bearish in my opinion, especially if we are at one of those major resistance levels, putting in some bearish signals with the weekly money flow coming out. That could potentially be a very bearish case for Bitcoin. And we're hoping that that's not going to be the case. We're hoping that we could come up, get above those key levels of resistance, right? And then just have the money flow shape up and send it off into new all-time highs. But we have to wait to see price come up there to read that situation and kind of assess the new information that comes in. Until then, we can only work with what we have down here. But I will say that as we looked at yesterday, high time frame bullish divergences forming at the low. It doesn't necessarily mean instant rip to the upside, but it could be, right? We were kind of talking about how we are likely to see this bottom kind of form. We compared it to our bottom here after our 7-month consolidation, looking somewhat similar here. And then we also compared it to 2021 in that May dump. We got that big drop to the downside. We put in 3 lows, and then we finally got that reversal to the upside. The question is, how is this going to kind of form, right? This is the really difficult task. Although we do have the bullish divergences, we don't know, right? Are we going to start taking off here? Are we going to kind of bing bong around, put in higher lows? Are we going to go take the lows again? It is very, very difficult to kind of call here, but I will say those high time frame bull dips into that key level of support with the weekly green dot is the best chance we have at potentially seeing a bigger continuation to the upside. And again, I want to bring up those liquidation heat maps because we know that liquidity acts as a magnet for price. And if that is the case, these could potentially be big areas to look at on the chart, not only looking at them acting as magnets, but also looking at those levels at potential places to look for liquidity sweeps and big dumps to the downside. So overall, higher time frames obviously remain exactly the same. We got the nice bull divs, and again, major levels of resistance here before we jump into like the local price action here. I will just say, major levels of resistance. I'll actually pull up the liquidation levels right now. Now, if we take, actually, I'll bring these up in a second, actually. So, when we look at this, right, the key levels of resistance that I'm going to be looking at, obviously, are going to be the same levels we've been looking at. Macro value area low, getting closer to about $91,000. And then above that is really the important level, which is going to be the golden pocket retracement of this entire move to the downside. And as you guys know, we've been paying attention to this trend line as well. We are still above this trend line. I wouldn't mind, right, as we were looking at yesterday, not impossible to get some kind of turbulence here, right? But as long as we can kind of, maybe we go back down to retest it before coming up. I'm going to talk about that $80,000 level in just a second. It's going to be a key level that I would personally like to hold. But we are still above that trend line. Now, I'm not going to necessarily anticipate a massive rip up just from here. Obviously, again, we can get very choppy. And at the end of the day, guys, we could lose this trend line, get stuck underneath, and go for another low, right? This is obviously something that is going to be a possibility, right? Hopefully not with the bull divs on the higher time frames. But, we have to be open to all those cases, right? Because if we are going to get that move down, we want to be aware of that as well. But major level of resistance number one is going to be $88,000, right? And you guys know yesterday we were looking at the liquidation, let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Right, we were looking at those liquidation levels, and you can see right up here at about $88,300 above all these highs, we have a very, very large area of liquidations. Now, again, this does act as a magnet for price, and this does get a little tricky, right, because we had liquidity here as well that we have finally swept. So, are we going to get a little bigger correction? I'm going to go over that as well. But overall, I want to start off on the higher time frames, right? This is not keeping in mind all the noise and all the chop. These are just major liquidity levels that could potentially suck price towards them. So, number one, $88,000. I would probably be starting at about $88,600. If we pull up the chart here real quick, 88,000. Just above this value area high. I have these liquidations marked off on the chart. So, the idea here is, well, hey, we're inside of our macro range, right? Or, our current volume profile. Let me come down to a little bit of a lower time frame. This is the same range we looked at yesterday. Value area low sitting at $81,648. POC sitting at about $83,100. And then we have the value area high sitting here at about $88,300, right? So we also know we have all that liquidity sitting up here. And one thing to realize, guys, is that we do have that 786 sitting up here at about $90,660. This is going to be a big level to watch because this is a very important Fibonacci retracement, right? This is the 786 when pulled from the high here all the way down to the low. So the idea here is, hey, if we get that move all the way to the value area high, which at this point, right, we've gotten acceptance back into our range. We flipped that POC as support, which is very nice, right? This was a very key level of resistance to flip, right? Because we know once we get above that value area low, POC is going to be next. Once we can stay above that level, we could potentially start our journey up to that value area high. And then you start to think to yourself, well, we have the high time frame bull divs, we have that liquidity sitting above, so this is definitely going to be an area of interest for me, not only to look at for price to get sucked up towards, but also an area where I will potentially be looking to take some short positions. Now, we talked about this yesterday. I'm going to be a little bit careful up here. And the reason for that is because last time we came up and swept some of these liquidations, we wound up coming in and putting in that low, right? We put in a lower low here, confirming or printing those macro bullish divergences. And this kind of makes me think, right? We came up, we had that news, I think we had Trump speaking here. We got that big rip to the upside. We were already looking at this in the premium Discord as an area we were interested in shorting. And we wound up getting that push up, right? We swept some of the liquidity above these equal highs, and then we wound up getting the big drop to put in the new low. And, because of this, right, if we do come back up there, I will say, right, although we can look for shorts, this is a value area high. Once we deviate above that value area high, this is typically an area where you want to look for short positions, right? Once you get the short confirmations, you can look to get accepted back into your range and then potentially either come down for a higher low or maybe even fill that range in full. But because we already swept a little bit of this liquidity above and put in that new low, I do think that if we do come up here, we have to be very careful because not only can we look for the short position, but if we wind up taking a short here or, if we see the confirmations, this liquidity, we have to be very careful, right? Because anytime we have liquidations on the chart, two things can happen, right? Number one, you can either get an SFP, right, which gives you the big drop down, right? We actually saw this happen locally within our local volume profile, which I will show you guys in just a minute. But either you're going to get an SFP or you're going to push up here, hit all these liquidations, and what happens when all the shorts get stopped out, guys? When you get the shorts to get stopped out or liquidated, it adds market buy pressure into the market, and that is what causes a short squeeze. So there's kind of two options up here. I will definitely be interested in potentially taking short positions, right? Especially if I see those confirmations. I'll take a shot at that trade, and if we do wind up getting that SFP, that'll be very, very nice if we get those additional bearish confirmations. But if we come up there, guys, and we push into these liquidations and we do not get the swing failure pattern or we do not get the liquidity sweep for the bigger move down, we could potentially just see that turn into a short squeeze. And the reason this is so important is because if we don't reject that 786, we may just be on our way back up to, which is almost already there. If we pull up our major resistance levels, right, $91,000 is that value area low of the macro range. So my thought process here is, if I do wind up taking a short there, I don't really, we push up here, it could cause a pretty aggressive squeeze, right? And then once that short squeeze winds up happening, retail are going to see that pump to the upside and think, oh my God, we're breaking out, right? And then maybe we get some FOMO buying, which could potentially push us up a bit higher. So I am going to be very, very cautious with this short position, and I really want to see nice confirmations. Even if I don't see a ton of confirmation, if I just get like a swing failure pattern only or something like that, I may just take it with a very tight stop loss in anticipation of potentially just finally coming up and just squeezing all those liquidations up here, right? And it's going to be a reactionary trade, right? Like we're going to wait for that push to the upside. I'm not just going to short once we hit this level, right? We're going to wait to see if we push up here, wait for those liquidations. I'll be watching the order flow to see if those liquidations are actually occurring, right? And then if we hit this resistance, we wind up coming back down. This is where we're going to be looking for the confirmations, right? Either the SFP or many other confirmations that we'll be looking for. But $88,000 to $91,000, this is kind of a gigantic level of resistance, right? A huge zone of resistance because we don't know, right? There's no way that we can know 100% what's going to happen here. We don't know. Maybe we come up here, just get rejected back into the high, go back down to the low. Maybe we get the bigger squeeze to happen. We hit the 786 value area low, right? And then we wind up getting the rejection, or maybe we just get the squeeze, right? I wouldn't expect the squeeze to bring us all the way up to 97K, but I want to point that out, right? Because I don't want anyone thinking that anytime you see like liquidity, you just like wait to go into it and then you just short, right? Like there's two different. You're either going to get the big dump to the downside, or it's going to absolutely blast off because of all those shorts getting stopped out, or longs, right? So very simply put, $88,000 is going to be that next key level. Understand those liquidation levels are sitting there, and again, we do have them on the heat map, right? Very, very, very visual, right? 88,000 starting at about this high here at about 88.4, right? 88.5, push all the way through there. They do lead into about $90,148. So that is good to know as well. So we'll see. And you can see here, right? Last time we were looking at liquidation levels, I'll actually pull this up on another heat map here. You guys can see we had this liquidation zone sitting here at about 84.3 all the way up to about 85.6. And this is what we looked at on the live stream. I even had the where is it? I'm just going to get rid of that real quick. Did I delete that box? Tell me you deleted that box. Hang on one second. Where is my... There we go, right? We have these liquidations sitting here from above these highs over the weekend, sitting at about, the wick was sitting here, again, 84.5. We had those liquidations. We come up, we push into the resistance, we come back down, we push back up into the resistance. And I want to talk about what we're seeing locally here, because we do have some 4-hour bearish divergences, which is why we were anticipating a move down here earlier in the premium Discord. We actually did get that drop to the downside, and I'm going to bring up the local levels in a second, but I just want to show how this kind of plays out, right? Because we have those liquidations sitting there over the right before the weekend on Friday. On our market update, we said, hey, that might act as a magnet for price, and if we could push up there, expect to push through those liquidations, right? And we also had the value area high above, a 786 Fibonacci retracement above, which, as we looked at yesterday, hopefully this is not going to be a lower high. Based off the higher time frames, I don't know how likely it is for that just to be a lower high before putting in a lower low. But there is resistance here, right? Value area high, 786, and then you have those liquidations leading above it. And you can see here, right, if we pull this up, 84,500, we sweep the liquidity, and then we come back down, right? And then we came up for a second high here, swept these highs, and now we're coming back down again. Now, it doesn't always play out like that. I would like to see if I could find an example on the actual heat map of it not playing out, but more often than not, if you can get that sweep of those liquidations, that's where I like to look for those bearish confirmations to see if we're going to get that return back to lower prices. But sometimes, maybe if I could pull up like a higher term time frame, I might be able to find something, but a lot of the time, guys, you will just see that kind of act as a just like a big squeeze, right? So just be careful, right? It's not that you could just find liquidity on the chart and then just instantly take a trade, right? You have to get those confirmations of the swing failure, which we talk about and have tutorials on the channel teaching you exactly how I trade swing failure patterns. But yeah, other than that, right, we got that push up. We're getting the little resistance here. We're getting the pullback. And yeah, those are the next key levels, right? We'll hide the upper range. Actually, no, keep the upper range on. I'll hide this, and we'll pull up our current range, right? So we're just still within our volume profile, guys. Like I said, if we come on down to the lower time frames here, what was yesterday was the 14th, 14th at 5 p.m., right? Like, we're just like, we're right where we were yesterday for the most part within our local volume profile. And you can see here, if I pull up this local range, right? This is what we looked at yesterday as some like scalp levels, right? We got the deviation above our value area high. We had some bearish confirmations here, higher highs on our price action, lower highs on our momentum waves here, specifically on the 15-minute. This was actually beautiful, right? We had this wick up here. Whoops, we looked at this on the premium live stream yesterday. We had this wick up here with some liquidity sitting above. Price comes up, we sweep the liquidity, we get the bearish divergences, higher highs on our price action, lower highs on our momentum waves, SFP, back into the range, back to the POC, back to the value area low, right? So I'm not going to cover these scalp levels too much, just because they're super, super local, right? So I just kind of wanted to show that, right? Like this SFP, you wouldn't really take this trade until you got the wick up, got the wick down, and the closure of the candle below, right? Because if you don't get that, that's what a swing failure pattern is. It's essentially just a candlestick pattern, right? Swing up, swing down, close the candle, and then boom, right? That's typically what you'll see. But if you don't get that swing failure pattern, sometimes price will just kind of come up and those liquidations will be that fuel to push you up to higher prices. So just be aware of that. And overall, right, we're just within our volume profile. The key levels that we looked at yesterday do remain the same. If we do continue down here, the big level I'm going to be looking at, you can see this anchored VWAP sitting at about $82,500. We also have a daily naked point of control. I'm going to hide that upper range real quick. This is the next like zone that I'm looking at, right? If we do come down, we know, well, hey, we're above the value area low. We've gotten above the POC. This is a beautiful, beautiful level to be above, right? Because that could start our journey up to the macro 88,000 value area high. But we know that POC does act as a magnet for price, right? So we sometimes can bing bong around that POC, right, before finally getting that move to the upside. It's not always just a beautiful ride to the upside, as we cover almost every single time we look at this, right? You get to push up above the POC, you try to hold it, you're back above, you're back below, you're back above, you swing to the value area low again, and then finally you flip that POC and go up to the high. So sometimes it is a very confusing journey. Sometimes it's clean too, right? Value area low, get above, POC. But even here, right, like you get above that value area low, you push into the POC, you lose it, you gain it, you lose it, and then you finally push up to where? Right into that value area high. So if we do see something like that happen, I would enjoy that, right? Because I'm not in a long position right now. So if we did push down here, the key level that I'm going to be looking at next is going to be this anchored VWAP, daily naked point of control. I don't think we have any dailies down there or anything like that. No weekly, no monthly. I don't think there's a weekly naked point of control, monthly naked. Yeah. So we have the daily naked point of control sitting at 82,367, and then the anchored VWAP at about 82,500. And if we pull up a little bit of a higher time frame here, this is going to be an area where I would potentially be looking for a bounce, right? This is what I would hope that we would get the bounce from, because if we pull our Fibonacci retracement, you can see golden pocket POC is confluent, and then your daily naked point of control in your 786 is also confluent. So this is going to be kind of that same level that we looked at yesterday, obviously. But you know, we're just still kind of sitting here waiting. Price is just chopping around up here. I am simply waiting for the key levels to get hit, which in my opinion, for the next local bounce, I would hope that if we come down here, this is an opportunity to get a bounce to the upside, because we also have liquidity sitting below these lows. So maybe we want to come down, sweep that liquidity, and then come down into these key levels of support. It would be really nice to hold that anchored VWAP. And obviously, if we are going to be looking for a continuation to the upside, holding the higher highs and higher lows, we could look for that on the 786 golden pocket retracement. So this is the local zone of support, and then just underneath that, you have your value area low. So, you know, this is a confluent zone. That's why I highlighted it. But at the end of the day, right, if we just get that fib off the chart, we take we'll take the daily naked point of control off the chart. We'll even hide that VWAP, right? At the end of the day, guys, we're just inside this volume profile, right? You know, if we come back down, value area low becomes key resistance, or key support, I'm sorry. If we break down below and we start losing this range, I said I was going to bring up that $80,000 level, and I didn't lie, because here it comes, right? So here, we're going to pull this from the start of this uptrend. We're going to pull an anchored VWAP. This does come confluent with the value area low of the range. I would look at this one as well as the one all the way from the low here, because we did not make a lower low. We put the lower low in here at 74,360, and then we made a slightly higher low up here. And I know that because I missed the SFP that I was looking for down here. But this comes in at about 80,700, and then if we pull our full golden pocket 786 from the low, actually I don't think it's the full. I think it's from right here, right? So you have the golden pocket, and then you have this. You have the anchored VWAP, and then the golden pocket here at about $80,000. If we come on down here, lose the POC, come down to the value area low, lose the range. I'll be honest, like, I don't even know. I wouldn't even really like that, to be honest. It is definitely an area we could bounce. I would just treat this as a volume profile, right? It depends on where this anchored VWAP is as well, right? Because if we lose that POC, come down to the value area low, this anchored VWAP might be confluent, right? And then we could look for a bounce at the value area low. Simply look for the move from the low to the POC back to the high. But at the end of the day, right, it's going to be very hard to figure out exactly how this is going to play out. But I do just want to bring up those key levels of support, right? Because yeah, weekly sitting down here at the 786. This is down here. You have a lot of kind of a lot of levels, right? You have the weekly, the 786, the golden pocket, the anchored VWAP. I don't think you have a you have a daily down here at 76,000. So it's like at that point, once you lose here, there's like a lot of levels we can look at down here. So it's going to be really hard to call exactly what's going to play out if we lose this level, meaning the value area low, and we come down here. There's kind of a lot to deal with. So, yeah, we're going to have to kind of play that by ear, right? Once we come down, like, what are the confirmations here? And very likely, right, we might be looking for scalp longs. That might, surprisingly, turn into a bigger swing for the bigger move to the upside, right? But now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of those lower time frame levels. But just to keep it simple, right, I'm just going to show you the most significant levels that I'll be watching, right? And that's really just going to be the volume profile levels as well as the higher time frame horizontal levels, which honestly, because the daily's all the way down here, I won't even bring that up. I'll pull up the daily naked points of controls, weekly naked points of controls. Yeah, so you have the daily MPOC, the value area low. This is definitely zone number one, right? My personal opinion, come sweep those lows, get back above the POC, and then go take those value area high levels, right, into that liquidity. Because remember, that liquidity may act as a magnet for price. But start losing that, right? Lose that daily naked point of control. Value area low is your next support. But depending on what the chart looks like down here, I may or may not be interested in a bounce there, right? But there's no way to know until we get down there. And then once we lose this, to be honest, like, yeah, there's just like so much stuff down here, right? It's like, are we going to hold the anchored VWAP, right? Maybe, all right? Like, but then we have the weekly naked point of control. This would be a very, very big level, right? 78,400 MPOC, weekly MPOC, weekly horizontal, with some backup daily naked point of control, right? With a little side of daily naked point of control. And then you pull your full Fibonacci retracement from the low and the start of this move up all the way to the high. And you can see, right, like if I had to mark these out, right, golden pocket, weekly and weekly MPOC, right, anchored VWAP doesn't really touch up there. And then your 786 and daily naked point of control is confluent there as well, right? So, yeah, like you have, it's hard to say where we're bounced, right? I'm hoping we could just sweep here, come back up, and then shoot back to the upside. I'm going to show you Market Cipher B in just a second, guys, and show you why. We'll take a look in a second. We have a money flow coming out on some specific time frames. We have 16-hour, 12-hour red dots looking to print. So I wouldn't be surprised if we push down a little bit more. I'm hoping we could just sweep that low, bounce off the daily naked, get back above the POC, and continue up. I can't guarantee that's going to be the case. If I don't get any signals to take the long, I will not do it. I will sit it out and let price continue down. But yeah, I mean, from a simple perspective, I would just keep an eye on the volume profile levels, right? And then if we lose the range, obviously the strongest level, in my opinion, would be this golden pocket, weekly naked point of control, weekly horizontal, sitting between 79,133 and 78,293. So that would be kind of big zone number one, right? Full golden pocket 786 retracement, confluence on that golden pocket, and then you lose that. Once you lose the golden pocket, you would anticipate to get a move down to your 786, which also has confluence, right? It's not every single fib level I'm interested in. I really like to see where multiple levels of confluence line up. So those would be the two biggest levels, right? But the reason I like 80K, right, is because not only do you have the anchored VWAP coming in through there, but it's also a psychological level, right? Start losing 80K, right? Let me pull that anchored VWAP one more time. Yeah, like 80,800. Yeah. I mean, these are the bigger levels. I don't know if we're going to kind of just continue. You know, maybe you bounce off the anchored VWAP. I would hope so, right? If you lose that daily naked, hopefully anchored VWAP comes to the value area low, you get a bounce. But again, it's an if this, then that situation. If we come down there and there's no confirmations, I'm sitting it out, right? And it also depends on if that anchor view up is there, etc. But these would be like the simple levels. It's going to be very technical once we lose that value area low. But these are the next key levels, right? In my own personal opinion. Let's pull that fib again. From the low to the high, right? POC, daily naked point of control. So yeah, this would be zone number 1. If we don't hold this, get rid of that tap. Get rid of this tapped weekly, MPOC. So yeah, I'm hoping, right, just sweep that liquidity, come back up. That's kind of my thought process, right? And then you look at this as a range, right? And you're saying, well, hey, we're below the range. We can look for longs, potentially get back into the range, back to the POC, back to the high, and then hopefully break out to the bigger value area high, which is in line with our larger volume profile, right? It's like, well, hey, we get above the value area low, hold it as support, back above the POC, we bing bong around, right? It's a little bit messy, but we do eventually make that way to the high. That would be the full fill of the range. That would be very nice. If we don't get the confirmations there, I would patiently wait for that value area low. And again, there's really no confluence on the value area low. Oftentimes, you will see like a nice, I'm sure we could find a golden pocket. Yeah, like that golden pocket is confluent there. Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be hard, right? We don't have any daily levels. We don't have any weekly levels. No MPOCs there. So I would really prefer to either hold this, right, or just see what happens here at the value area low. We wind up losing it. You get close to $80,000. About $80,500 is that 786. But again, like, not a ton of confluence on that 786, right? All your confluence, right? Doesn't mean that you can't bounce there. This is kind of the hard part about trading, right? Because you could say, well, hey, golden pocket or 786, right? We could bounce there. But there's no confluence. But it doesn't mean you can't bounce there. But in my opinion, right, I would rather wait for the confluent levels, which are very clearly down here between 79,133, 78,293, and then down here between about 77,243 and 77,000, right? I can't guarantee we come down there, but I will say, what I can say with 100% certainty is these are the stronger levels, right? I would say this, and this are the stronger levels, and then you kind of have these intermediary kind of like floating levels with no confluence. Can bounce there, just a little lower probability, right? Usually not an area of interest for me. So I will be watching as price comes into these levels to see if we can get a setup to present itself. But for the most part, these are the big levels. Hopefully we don't have to lose the volume profile, right? We could either bounce there or just, stay within this profile kind of range, deviate below the low, get back in, flip the POC, go to the high. But once you wind up getting rejected out of this range, I would be more focused on these levels. Simply put, it's a little bit of it. I'll be honest. It's a confusing and difficult situation once you lose that value area low, in my own personal opinion, right? Because it's like you can wait for the bigger levels, but like, are you going to hold those local fib levels? Very, very difficult. So those are the key levels I'm watching locally. Hopefully we don't have to break down out of this range. If we do, we can revisit one of the local ranges that we've been looking at, or back when we were trading down here, right? We have this little local volume profile that we can look at. Daily naked point of control is confluent with your 786. But again, we'll cross this bridge when we get there, but there is a little bit more confluence there on that 786 as well. Value area high close to that golden pocket. Also creeping towards about $80,000. So yeah, when we're not looking at Fibonacci retracements and horizontal levels, right? What am I looking at? More often than not, I am simply looking. Let me just get the boxes off here. I'm simply looking at the volume profiles, right? So if we wind up losing that range, we understand, well, hey, we have this lower volume profile. And this is typically what I use for the guide to where price is going to go next, right? Got your value area high, your POC, and your value area low, right? So we deviate out of this range. We can't hold it. Value area high, 79,633, right? Lose this. You can go back down to the POC. And then all those key levels wind up coming up in there. But hopefully, we don't have to lose that range. Now, can we lose that range? Can we lose this value area low? Let's take a look at market cipher B, right? We have the, now there we go. 16-hour red dot finally printing. Money flow still in the green here, right? So again, I would say, based off the high time frame bull dips, I still feel decent about a continuation to the upside. The question is, like, what is the noise going to look like, right? Like, what is it going to look like down here? Like, how is this bottom going to form if we're going to continue up? It's going to be very, very choppy, very, very hard to predict. But that's why I have those key levels, and I simply wait for those confluent levels to get hit, and that is where I look to make those trades, right? But red dot printing on the 16-hour, this is locally 16-hour red dot, 1 hour money flow crossing over into the red. So I would expect chop here and potential more downside, hoping to sweep those lows, get the bounce. But yeah, that money flow coming out on the 1 hour, 16-hour red dot, that is just From a binary perspective, that is bearish. 12-hour red dot also looking to print. 45-minute money flow looking to cross over into the red. So these are the local bearish puzzle pieces. This does not necessarily invalidate the 3-day, the 2-day bull div, the weekly green dot. Weekly green dot is not confirmed yet. Keep that in mind. But this market cipher B116 strategy does not invalidate those higher time frame bull divs. But locally, this could definitely call for some more potential downside, in my own personal opinion, right? You also have your daily VWAP coming to the downside. So, we might be able to kind of chop around here, maybe cool off just a little bit. But again, right, you take all your levels off the chart here, hopefully we can hold that local fib. Maybe we have to come down a little bit deeper. Again, I hope we don't have to deal with that. It's going to be very annoying to come down here and like try to figure out what level we're going to bounce off of. But just kind of letting things play out here, right? So yeah, we'll see. We're still inside that range. And I would watch that 1 hour money flow. We know that when you see that 16-hour red dot with that 1 hour money flow crossover, typically that 1 hour money flow crossover into the red is what gives you the continuation of that downtrend. Now, one thing that I really don't like on a little bit of a higher time frame is this daily money flow. This daily money flow is coming back out pretty aggressively with a red dot incoming. So those are the warning signs, right? And again, that doesn't necessarily invalidate the 2-day bull div, the 3-day bull div, all the higher time frame signals. But, it's a really tough call here, in my opinion. I do think we could chop around here and kind of work ourselves out, right? Maybe we get a fake out, back down, back up, right? It's going to be very hard to kind of predict what that bottom formation is going to look like, right? We compared it to this bottom, right? This kind of, yesterday we compared it to like this, right? You get the kind of like, maybe we put in one more low at about $70,000, which is confluent. Or not confluent, but it does bring you into that macro golden pocket when pulled from the absolute low here of our August 5th dump all the way to the all-time high. I like the 2-day bull divs for a continuation up as of right now, but that does not mean that they have to send us up, right? We can't, not every signal is going to play out 100% of the time. So I do want to be open, right? Like, I am open to having a potential dump to the downside, but it's not my base case, right? My base case is that this 2-day bull div can, with the weekly green dot, can very likely give us a little bit of a continuation up, right? We looked at the previous green dots on the weekly, right? This weekly green dot wound up giving us a pretty giant rip to the upside. And then this one, right? Our anchor wave, our momentum wave here is at negative 41. This has not been down here since the bear market, right? So these when you get these green dots on like deep momentum waves like this, oftentimes they can give you good pops to the upside, right? Like you look at this one, big move to the upside. This one, obviously, big move to the upside, and this was the bear market, so like this green dot even gave you some kind of a retracement. But yeah, hopefully this weekly green dot gives us the push up. We have the key support down below, and hopefully I could find a long setup here in case we do take that $88,000 liquidity. But overall, if you're looking for like simple levels to have on your chart, I'd be watching this volume profile. Value area low, 81,648, POC 83,154, and then your value area high at about $88,208. It is always a journey, right, into that value area high. We don't know how that's going to play out, but all we can do is mark out those key levels where we would hope that we could get the bounces from, right, which would be the value area low, the daily naked point of control, right here, 82,367, and then hopefully the value area low. If we lose it, we can look at those lower levels that I just brought up and just assess as we push into those key levels, right? Because the way I kind of handle that is I just wait for price to come into the level, right? Let's pull a little fib here. Come on, there we go, right? Let's just say we're looking at this Fibonacci retracement, right? It's like, well, hey, what's going on at that retracement level? Are we getting entry triggers? If so, we could take a shot at the long, right? If not, you sit on your hands, you wait for the 786. If you melt through it, you simply wait for those lower levels, which again, in my opinion, get a little closer to $78,000 to $77,000, right? Because again, it's all about confluence, right? That's all the levels that I highlight in blue are levels that have confluence, right? Very rarely am I just looking at a golden pocket being like, that's the level, right? I like to see a golden pocket, daily naked point of control, daily horizontal, weekly horizontal, etc. So yeah, other than that, this is the main range that I'm looking at, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully we could stay inside here and continue up to that $88,000 liquidity and maybe set up for a nice short or maybe squeeze it to higher prices. But overall, if we're putting in a macro low here, I will say, if we want new all-time highs for Bitcoin, the level to break is $97,000. Break above that golden pocket, right? Because this starts, right? If we do get that push up, $88,000, right? Squeezes into the value area low. Once we flip 91,000, this is the doorway to 97K. So once we flip 91, I would expect to potentially come up to 97, right? And then this is the macro golden pocket, which does open up the door. If we're going to look for macro lower highs and lower lows, where are those levels that have the high probability of giving us the rejection? Simply put, golden pocket, 786 retracement. And all the golden pocket and this 786 do have confluence, right? If we pull up the key levels here, I'm going to hide these. These are lower tick, right? You have 2 daily naked points of controls up in here. You have a weekly level up in there. You have a no weekly naked point of control in there. You do have a weekly naked point of control here at your value, right near your value area low at about 92,500. But again, we start getting above this value area low, guys, like very likely to see that 97,000, right? Anchored VWAP from the all-time high here would also be getting flipped to support. Huge level to flip to support, which would 100%, in my opinion, call for more upside to 97K. And then when we get to 97K, if we can get to 97K, this is where we're saying, hey, if we're going to look for a macro high, low, lower high, lower low, and we're going into a massive bear market, black swan, Bitcoin goes to zero, Ethereum to negative 57,000, that golden pocket, daily naked point of control, weekly, right? And I think we also have some other levels up there as well. Where's the confluence? The confluence is here. The confluence is here, right? Daily naked point of control, value area high 786. And then even on the value area low, you have the weekly naked point of control, a monthly naked point of control right on that weekly. This is a weekly and a monthly naked point of control and the value area low. So like these are the biggest levels, right? If you're not scalping or day trading these little ups and downs like we do in the Candle Mafia, and you're just here for the big levels, 91 to 92K. Flip that to support. 97 is very likely. Once we get above that, 102 to 103 is very likely. And honestly, once we flip that golden pocket, I would start to really be open to the idea of all-time highs incoming, right? Because you really only have one more big level to look at. A lot of liquidity sitting above the highs, which could cause a big squeeze to the upside. But these are the big levels. 91 to 92, $97,000, and 102 or 101 to 103K, right? Those I wouldn't even really I would classify 97K, 91 to 92, and really the level that we're approaching potentially at 88,000, right? Squeeze to the value area low, get up in here, 97K, and if we see that weekly money flow coming out, that could mean that we're going to put in a lower high. But that's not my base case here, right? I'm not saying we're guaranteed to get all-time highs, but we'll have to see what the money flow looks like up here. But yeah, it's I don't know. It would be very weird. It's not that the cycles can't change, right? But I don't know. I just still don't fall in the camp that the bear market is here. When I do, I will be the first person to let you guys know. But overall, guys, like that's really what we're looking at. We really want to start to break out here, flip all this to support, get above 91 to 92, into 97, right? And as long as that's not the high or low, we can look for new all-time highs. We're going to have plenty of time for that all to develop. We'll probably have new information on the chart at that time, which might even completely change our bias as we're up there. But that's my plan right now. Other than that, just watching the local ranges and just waiting for those key levels to get hit. Shout out to Aussie. What is going on, bro? Said that's the sauce right there. Shout out to Aussie. We give it all away here in the Candle Mafia. Those are literally all the key levels that we're looking at. Let's see. Shout out to Crypto Billy. What is going on, bro? Welcome in. He says, I traded 2 of Mohammed's goats for 1 ETH. He said ETH is going to 0, so he took the trade. Hey, shout out to Crypto Billy out there trading livestock for Ethereum. Let's go. Shout out to Crypto Billy. Let's see. Shout out to Thinkless. Said, can you show how you were charting the weekly MPOC at $92,000? Shout out to Thinkless. Are you talking about like how I find the naked points of controls? There's a few different ways that you can find naked points of controls, right? You could I personally like to use ExoCharts, which is an order flow software. I usually use that to find my MPOCs, but you can also find them on TradingView here. I have a template on my TradingView that helps me find naked points of controls, right? Like I said, I usually like to use ExoCharts, but you can pull them up here as well. This is simply using the periodic volume profile. I do have a tutorial on the channel that shows you exactly how to set it up, where you could just click a button and have the MPOCs pop up. But that was my timer going off. But yeah, like if you turn this on daily, right, we will see. Oh, it was already on daily. Daily naked points of controls, right? So here are your daily naked points of controls. You can see you got one here at about 92.3, one right here at about 93K, right? And then we change this over to weekly or week. And then we have weekly naked points of controls, weekly at about 90K, right? And then you turn on your month, and then you have monthly naked points of controls, right? So you have a monthly here at 96, right? Huge level, right? You start looking at this, and you're like, well, hey, you have a monthly naked point of control right in confluence with your golden pocket, macro golden pocket, from the all-time high to the current low, right? So the only thing you can really think of here, let me clean this up real quick. Bear with me here. Turn off that histogram box. Get out of here. And I'm actually gonna fade all this stuff as well, just so we can only see the MPOCs. Bada boom. Bada bing, right? So you start looking here and you're like, well, hey, I have a weekly naked point of control here. And if I'm looking for a macro retracement into a key level, which is the golden pocket, a monthly naked point of control sitting up there is going to be a very, very large level of confluence, right? It's not just a naked point of control. It's a monthly, high time frame MPOC. And this is literally, or not literally, usually where you see those really, really, really big reactions from, right? Or strong reactions from. But very similar to down here, right? What do we bounce off of here? Well, we bounced off of a weekly naked point of control. I could see if I can get this to pull up. Right, yeah, look at this weekly naked point of control. This is why we were looking for a big bounce here. Like, a lot of people ask me, like, dude, how do you know that this stuff is going to happen, right? Well, it's not magic, right? It's not just me, right? It's just the TA. You can learn this too. Everybody can learn this. I am just a normal dude, right? I'm not like a math genius. I don't know statistics. Like, I'm just a normal person. If you could learn this, you could find this stuff as well. You just need to know how to put it all together to kind of figure out the story that you're trying to follow, right? Or your trading plan at the end of the day, right? So we knew it wasn't just a weekly naked point of control down here, right? We front ran it very slightly here. You can see that because it's still extending to the right. And we say to ourselves, well, hey, do we have confluence down here? Yes, we do, right? We have our macro golden pocket, 786 retracement, right? So you have the golden pocket up here. That was where we were first looking for a bounce. We got it. And then we put in a lower high and a lower low, right? And we knew that was going to be likely based off our money flow on the daily. We knew that daily money flow was crossing into the red. So we knew lower highs and lower lows was going to be likely. That's how we front run that stuff. It's not just resistance. It's not just Fibonacci levels. It's not just money flow. It's all of it put together, right? We had key levels of resistance up here. We knew it was going to be a lower high, or very likely, knew it was very probable for it to be a lower high and a lower low, right? And then when we front ran this 786, we expected to move to the upside, but we didn't expect it to be massive. And the reason for that is because of our money flow. Again, the 2-day money flow was crossing over into the red. So we say to ourselves, hey, we have a bull div here on the 2-day. We could expect a bounce, but based off money flow, it's probably going to be lackluster for a lower high and a lower low. And not only that, but we also had the front run 786 and the weekly naked point of control that never got tapped. Usually when that happens, you do want to physically go tap those levels. So that was kind of the thesis. And what happened? We came in, put a lower high, put a lower low. We tapped that weekly naked point of control. And where are we getting the next strong bounce from? Right from that confluent level, right? Weekly 786, macro 786, weekly naked point of control. So there you go. But yeah, you can check that. I have a tutorial on the channel to show you how to get those naked points of controls on your chart. So definitely go ahead and check that out. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Thinkless. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He said, thanks for displaying the weekly naked point of control. Shout out to Thinkless. Well, now you can find them on your own trading view chart. So you'll always have them. So shout out to you, bro. Hopefully that helps you out. Shout out to David Brumbelow in the chat. What is going on, bro? Welcome in, OG of the Candle Mafia. Shout out to David Brumbelow. Let's go. Let's see. If the 1 hour momentum cools off to the upside a bit, then comes back down, it would be nice. Shout out to Low Key Feta, my favorite cheese. Shout out to you, bro. Well, I don't have my money on the desk. I was going to say, other than this cheese. But let's see. What indicators am I using? Shout out to Tokir. Hopefully I said that right. I have a bunch of stuff on the chart. As far as indicators go, I have Market Cipher B, which is down here. This is a paid indicator. You can check it out, marketcipher.com. And if you want to save money, you can use our link and help support the channel for this free trading education. And then you can use that indicator, come back here, learn how to use it in the best way possible to help yourself make money trading Bitcoin, whether the price goes up or down. But this is Market Cipher B, right? And then everything else I wouldn't really consider indicators. Like the MPOCs are just key levels. And then the other big indicator or tool that you see me use are the volume profiles. These are free on TradingView. So there you go. We also have my free... Oh, whoops. I was like, what the heck? Also have my free, if you type my name into TradingView, Frankie Candles Essentials by Lux Algo. Shout out to Lux Algo. This is a free fixed range volume profile that is super, super helpful. Everybody, the Mafia loves this indicator, guys. This will help you kind of understand how I trade, right? Like this is what it shows you the volume profile, and then it also will help you. You can use. It'll mark out divergences, right? Or like the bearish confirmations every time we deviate below or above the range. It will let you know if you're getting any kind of confirmation as you deviate above. Because if you're new here, you will know, or you won't know, that when we trade these volume profiles, this is the fair value for the asset, right? Price likes to trade in here, right? It's agreed that when we come below this level, we come back in. When we get above this level, we come back in. Right? When we go towards the low, we go back to the high. When we get to the high, back to the low, right? So this you could think of as the fair value for the asset, right? And when you get to the high or even deviate above, this is looked at as overvalued, or if you come below, it could look at it as undervalued, right? So this is where you want to look for shorts. This is where you want to look for longs. But the nice thing about the Frankie Candles Essentials, this is free. I have nothing to benefit from here. I don't get anything from this. We just made this for the community, and shout out to Lux Algo for doing this. There's no name, email, or anything. You just go to TradingView. You can pull this on your chart right now. But the nice thing is, the question is, well, how do I know if it's going to come back in, right? Because can it just continue out? And the answer is absolutely it can continue out, right? And that's why you have to have a full understanding of the TA, full understanding of the higher time frame context, the trend, right? The trend is your friend until the end. You don't want to look for a big short if the trend is to the upside on the higher time frames. But when you use the volume profiles, it just gives you that fair value. And when you deviate out of those fair values, oh my God, this is cheap. Well, if it's been trading around in this range for so long, right? If I get bullish confirmations down here, I could say to myself, well, hey, we're below the value area low. I should be looking for longs down here. I have bullish confirmations. Let me buy and ride it back in towards the POC. And then once you're back in here, you flip that POC to support. Very likely you get back to the value area high. And this is the bread and butter of our trading strategy, right? It's not as easy as just shorting a value area high or longing a value area low. Although that still would have a pretty decent hit rate, in my opinion, right? Even if you didn't know what to look for. But I don't recommend that by any means. But if you come in here, right, you could actually change this oscillator external, and you could hook this up to whatever you're looking for divergences in. And if you don't know what a divergence is or a volume profile is, watch all the videos on the YouTube channel. It's like a free trading course. Watch all those videos. Come back here, and you'll know exactly what we're talking about. But if you're looking for divergences on the RSI or whatever it is, the Lux Algo oscillator matrix, you can actually come in here, click external. Whoops. Come on in here. I'm going to select Market Cipher B because that's typically where I look for my divergences. Light blue wave, bada boom, and then it will let you know when you're actually getting divergences outside of that value area, right? So you can see here, you're deviating below the low, you're getting bullish confirmations outside that value area, and you get that little sauce can, you get that little sauce can emoji letting you know, hey, you're below the value area, bullish confirmations, might be able to continue back in towards the POC and eventually fill it to the value area high. And it would be the same thing. And it's only going to give you those indications when you're deviated below the profile, right? So in this case, it's spotting the little bullish divergence that we have here, which could be return back into the range, back to the value area high. And we didn't really deviate much outside of this value area high, but if you did and you had confirmations, you would get another sauce can to make you look for a move back down. Now, it is not to be traded as a buy or sell signal, right? You have to understand there's no shortcut, right? There's never going to be any indicator that you can just be like, oh, look, buy. Oh, my God, look, sell, right? You still have to learn the TA. You still have to understand how the market moves. You have to understand liquidity, context of the higher time frames, all that good stuff. You still have to learn it, but this really does help people understand how I do my analysis, and it kind of cleans it up, right? It just makes it nice and easy. You also have auto-populating Fibonacci levels, right? So pull from the low to the high, golden pocket 786, right? So that's always good as well. And this is 100% free. So there you go. Those are my indicators. Go check them out. Shout out to Market Cipher and Lux Algo. Let's see. Shout out to Ghost said, what are your settings for the golden pocket? Check out everything is in the tutorials on the channel. I have a full Fibonacci video in the beginner series that shows you exactly how to set everything up. So everything is on the YouTube channel. You can watch it all in detail, and it's all free. Free 99, baby. Let's see. What will make you know it's a bear market? Well, me personally, we talk about this a lot, right? For me personally, right, it has a lot to do with money flow, right? One of the simplest confirmations that we're in a bear market or about to go into a deep bear market is the weekly money flow crossover. When we look at money flow, this indicates money leaving or entering the asset, right? And back here in 2021, I can't really say right now because we don't know if we're in a bear market yet, but in 2021, the first warning sign were high time frame bearish divergences. Again, if you don't know what bearish divergences is check out the tutorials, right? But We had higher highs on our price action, lower highs on our momentum waves. We got that weekly bearish divergence, which are typically pretty strong, right? So you would anticipate some kind of a move to the downside, but not only did we get a weekly bear div, we also had our money flow coming out, right? This is showing us signs of weakness, prices continuing up, but momentum is coming out, right? Price is coming up, but money is leaving the asset. Two divergences on a high time frame. And we know historically, when you get these weekly money flow crossovers into the red, it does oftentimes start the massive bear market. Right here, weekly money flow crossover into the red, big move to the downside. Got roasted on my channel when I brought that up, right? We also had a weekly blood diamond up there, which we talk about a lot. But you have signs of weakness, or not signs of weakness, but bearish reversal signals, weekly bearish divergence, big drop to the downside, money flow coming out. This is a big signal, right? Because as soon as that crosses over into the red, over the past few cycles, it has meant much lower was coming, right? So weekly crossover, massive 66% dump. 2017, 2017. Weekly money flow crossover, kind of chopped around here sideways forever. Imagine how brutal this was, right? Like, this is so brutal, right? Because you're like, oh my God, we massively dumped. Like, what is going on here? Oh my God, right? How long was that? This is like 231 days. Good Lord. What a brutal sideways price action. But weekly money flow crosses over into the red, and you get the 55% dump to the downside. Weekly money flow crossover into the red, 62% dump to the downside, right? So historically, if you buy, right, when the weekly money flow is in the red, you're buying the bottom of the bear market. Weekly money flow in the red, big bull run. Weekly money flow in the red, you're buying the bottom, black swan event, but for the most part, bull run. Back here, this is what we did this cycle. Shout out to the CandleMafia that's been here since the beginning. Weekly money flow crosses over, big drop to the downside, accumulate, and we're in from a very good price, right? And we don't have to worry about these dumps, right? Because we're all the way in from down here. So that's one big thing to keep an eye on, right? If that weekly money flow, and this is specifically what I'll be looking for. From the high to the low. Golden pocket, 786 retracement. Now, there's no guarantee that we have to come back up there, but if we did, right, and we're starting to tap in on this golden pocket 786, and we have bearish signs, and this weekly money flow is still coming out, and it looks like it's going to cross over into the red as we're hitting a key level here, right? Because if we're going to go into a bear market and we retrace to put in a lower high and a lower low, this would be the biggest level that I would be looking at. There are some more local levels that we talked about, but for a full golden pocket 786 retracement from the high to the low, it would be about $97,000, right? So if we come up there for a lower high before breaking structure to the downside to put a new lower low in, and money flow is also coming to the downside, that weekly money flow crossover into the red as we approach here is going to be huge to look at, because that would be a high probability that that is going to be the high for a massive bear market. But like I said earlier, if we come up there and this money flow starts cranking to the upside, right, and it's not looking like that, maybe we have the 2-day money flow coming back into the green, etc., then that would make me say, hey, maybe we dodged a bullet here and we can go put another high in, right? So that's kind of the main thing that I like to look for. It's very complex, right? There's no just like, it's not even like the weekly money flow crossing over is just going to be like, that's it, we're in a bear market. Like, nothing's ever going to be that simple in trading. You always have to have multiple scenarios on the table, because at the end of the day, you could come up here, weekly money flow could look like garbage. You get a tweet, QE, whatever it is, you can get some bullish news or something, and then boom, you just come up anyway, and the TA gets stepped on, right? So it's never going to be 100%, but last cycle, when we were sitting up there with that money flow about to cross over into the red, I'll never forget. It was like one of the first things I talked about on my channel, and I got cooked. I got cooked in the chat. I got cooked in the comments. But we wound up being right. And I could have been wrong there too, right? I'm not saying that like, and I was right, right? But, I got cooked. Nobody wants to hear that, right? So when the signs are on the chart, don't listen to the crowd, right? Because the crowd is very likely going to be like, that's it, right? Everyone here thought it was going to go to 100K. 30K is the bottom. That's it. We're going up. We made a new all-time high. That's it. It's over. We're going up. And I'm just looking at here. I'm just sitting here like, okay, bearish divergence, money flow coming out. This does not look good. We also had a weekly blood diamond here, which we've never had before on the chart, which is typically a pretty bearish sign, especially on a weekly time frame. And, we got the big drop to the downside, right? So that's kind of what I looked at in the past. That has worked in the past. But it's going to be a difficult situation. I would hope that we get some kind of bigger retracement, and then we can assess the situation once we get up there. But $97,000 to $100,000 is going to be the big resistance, right? Because another situation that we could see happen here, guys, is that you come up you come up to that $97,000 golden pocket, right? And then you just sweep the highs one more time, right? And you just fake everybody out before coming back down. Maybe we triple top here instead of double top like we did in the last cycle, right? So, like, anything is possible, right? And as a trader, I am open to every single situation because I don't need price to go up or down. I just need price to move. If it goes up, I make money. If it goes down, I can make money. That's the beauty of being a trader. But you do have to keep every scenario in mind, right? But once you understand how to read the charts, you could say, well, which one's the more likely scenario, right? Because when I look here at that daily money flow crossing over into the red, I say to myself, well, hey, I know that there's a chance that the money flow crossing into the red isn't going to indicate the downtrend, right? There's a chance that we can just yeet off into higher prices. But with money flow crossing over into the red, some of the bearish divergences that we had here, the liquidity sweep that we had here, right? Sweep of the highs. Right? There were signs saying that not only would we go down, but money flow crossing into the red would indicate that the overall trend would continue to the downside, right? So we could have been wrong there, but we knew the higher probability was that the downtrend would continue. And if you watch this channel, if you tune into these live streams, you'll remember all those days, this brutal sideways price action where we're like, daily money flow not looking good. We could break down. If we lose these lows, we're probably going down to 80 to 75K. We got that. It's been brutal down here. We went to 80K. We got the bounce. And then we came down to 77K, came back up, back down, and we finally hit 75K, and now we have the bull divs for the bounce, right? So we knew that was the higher probability situation, but there was a chance that we could have been wrong about that. We just happened to be right, right? There was a chance that we could have just, yeeted off into higher prices. So keep that in mind, right? Charts are never 100%. But they don't have to be, right? That's like a common misconception about TA, is that you have to guess whether it's going up or down and just stick to that, right? That's not how trading works. That's not how TA works. You do not need to be right 100% of the time. You just need to be right more than half the time, right? And then if you manage your risk, you will make money over time. Let's see. Shout out to Felix, said, yo, Frankie made some good gains on the local range. All learned from you, bro, giving that sauce on the live streams. Yo, shout out to Felix, baby. Let's go, man. I love that. You don't even got to pay for anything. You just come in here and learn for free. And like I said, this is like a free trading masterclass, right? Not only the YouTube channel, but these live streams as well. I like to answer as many questions as I possibly can. I genuinely enjoy helping people. Let's see. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Stupid Bitcoin in the chat. What is going on, bro? Welcome in. Banana Zone coming. Shout out to FedBomb. I hope so, bro. Where's that Banana Zone? Come on, baby. Maybe those bull divs will give it to us. Maybe. We need QE at the end of the day, right? If we don't get QE, probably not going to be able to get the Banana Zone. But hopefully it comes in soon and we can get that. I would agree. Let's see. That was the first ever blood diamond. Yeah, shout out to Low-Key Feta. That was the first ever weekly blood diamond that we had ever seen on the Bitcoin chart. Very, very bearish. All right, now we've had another one here, right, which wasn't the start of the bear market, but look what else was happening, right? Weekly blood diamond, but your weekly money flow was not just tanking to zero, right? Here, weekly blood diamond, you were literally getting the crossover at the same time. Like, I don't know. This was like a pretty clear dump, in my opinion. But we had never seen that before, ever in the history of Bitcoin. No weekly blood diamonds, no weekly yellow X's until that cycle as well. So, again, it's not every, this is why I say no indicator is ever going to be able to just make you rich overnight, right? Because nothing's 100%, and it all has to do with context. Here, you had like 30 things pointing to a massive dump. Here, right, you didn't have the weekly money flow dumping to the downside. You didn't have a weekly bearish divergence, right? You didn't have money flow tanking out, right? So it does give you a move down, but it doesn't bring you into a massive bear market. So there's nothing that's just like, once this flashes, we're in a bear market, you have to sell, right? It's never going to be that easy. But once you understand the confluence, right, and you understand how things line up, you could say to yourself, well, hey, I got a blood diamond, I got the golden pocket retracement, I got money flow tanking out, bearish divergences, might come down. But real quick, guys, I do want to take a look at Ethereum real quick. I did actually make a nice and clean version of this chart. So updating on Ethereum really quickly. Shout out to JR Ford said things just keep getting cheaper. Should have saved more money for this 9th dip coming up. Jeez, yeah, shout out to JR Ford. I don't think you're alone, bro. I don't think you're alone. I'll be honest. I think a lot of people wish that same thing. How do you get the blood diamond? This is part of Market Cipher, right? So Market Cipher has Market Cipher B, which is the money flow and the momentum waves, right? And then you also have Market Cipher A, which gives you these other confirmations on your candles, right? So that comes together. And also, you can check out our discount code MCFrank20 if you want to help support the channel. You can click the link in the description down below. But like I always say, I've been using Market Cipher way before we ever knew Crypto Face, way before I ever had a YouTube channel. I've been using Market Cipher for years. It's actually just the coolest thing in the world that we're actually, we know Crypto Face now, which is the coolest thing ever. But definitely check it out, right? It's like one of the best indicators you could possibly use. Bullish on parade. So you're saying there's a chance. Yes. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay, so let's continue on here. So for Ethereum, I'm going to clean up the chart a bit. Again, like not too much to update here as far as Ethereum, guys. If we get another big dump, the key level to watch is the value area low. We also have a daily naked point of control sitting down here in Confluence, so that's going to be your next major key level of support, right? And we talked about this yesterday. Macro 786 Fibonacci retracement from the bear market lows all the way up to the high. Let me check this. 4,095. Okay, yeah. This 786, guys, we really want to keep closing these weekly candles above that 786. If we start closing weekly candles below that 786, it greatly increases the chances of coming down to the daily naked point of control value area low, sitting between $1,334 and $1,300. That's the next key level, very simply put. And as of right now, and again, that 786 sits at about 1,570, so keep that in mind. Very important level to hold. If we lose it, I think it's like very high probability we come down here and come lower, right? Ethereum is extremely bearish. We are in a massive downtrend, right? Every pump gets swallowed, right? Like, we just cannot break. We can't get any kind of significant retracements in. It's just lower high after lower high after lower high after lower low, lower low, lower low, right? Very bearish. So until we wind up getting like a big retracement in here, like even if we continue up here, right? Like we could just get slammed down for another lower high. So we really need to see Ethereum start to get things going here. If we lose that 786, key level, daily naked point of control value area low. I'm not going to talk about the lower levels below that. Hopefully we don't have to deal with those. But if we wind up losing that, guys, $1,000. We have a lot of levels down there, to be quite honest with you. We have two weeklies down here between about 1,200 and 1,100. We got a monthly level at about 1,060, right, or 1,070. So you do have other levels down below, but I'm focused on the volume profiles. If we cannot get back above this POC, and just in the general volume profile theory, get accepted back into your range, can't break out. Next likely place for price to go is the POC. The laws of the volume profile. Once you get accepted below the high, POC is the next likely place for price to go. If you can't break above that POC, very likely you're going to fill that range in full. And I would argue that even if, right, you really need this thing to start taking off, right? Even if you get a retracement here, you could potentially just pull into some retracement levels, like I just said, put in another lower low, and eventually lose that POC. Right, the volume profiles very often fill in full, right? Once you're accepted into the range. And not only are we accepted into the range, we're also getting stuck under this POC. We had a local range that we were looking at that we were stuck under the POC, and we even pumped above it again. And I was saying, laws of the volume profile would say even though we're above the POC, we're probably going to get accepted back down and push to the value area low, and it wound up happening, right? So that's kind of what I'm looking at. We got to get above the POC, hold 1634 as support. And even here, push into the golden pocket, that's nice, but still an opportunity to get a rejection. 786 value area high, still an opportunity to get a rejection. We really, as I've been saying on the live streams every day, not only do we have to break above the value area high, the range, sitting at $2,000, right? Not only do we have to break out here, I would like to break above $2,100, right? Which is the doorway to higher prices, right? So like anything down here is not that exciting to me until we wind up cracking above that value area low, flipping the value area low at 2,100 to support. Then we can look for a potential bigger move up, right? That would be like the first time where I'm like, okay, finally we're getting a little bit of a move up, right? Other than that, we got to be really careful that we just don't continue to fill this range. So that's what I'm looking at on Ethereum. We got the 16-hour red dot printing. 1 hour money flow crossing over into the red. Is this going to cause the bigger drop to the downside? potentially, right? Oftentimes when you have that 16-hour red dot, and anybody asking about Market Cipher, is one of the easiest and simple trading strategies that you can use using Market Cipher. 16-hour red dot, 1 hour money flow crossover into the red. There's many different ways to do this strategy, but this is a specific one. Red dot on the 16-hour, 1 hour money flow crossover into the red, oftentimes starts the bigger move to the downside. So we'll see if that plays out. They've been slapping lately. And again, that doesn't mean that we're going to go directly to the value area low at 1,300, right? We still have opportunity here to bing bong around in this local range, right? Maybe come down to some Fibonacci levels. So I wouldn't be saying that's going to cause us to drop to the value area low. But the next macro support level is definitely at $1,300 near that value area low, right? Other than that, I mean, we'll see what happens. We still have the 4-day bull div confirmed, 5-day red dot confirmed, 6-day green dot printing, weekly green dot printing, right? These are the high time frame bullish signals, right? And ETH, weekly money flow has been in the red for a while now, right? But hopefully that green dot could at least give us some kind of a retracement and hopefully yank that money flow back into the green so we can send it up. If not, we would be anticipating lower highs, lower lows, right? Simply put, until this high time frame money flow shapes up, even the 6-day, the 4-day is still stuck down there. 3-day coming out, not even curving up, right? Just coming straight out. So until these bullish divergences start to pull the money flow back up, I have to view this through the lens of lower highs and lower lows to come, right? Because the money flow indicates the overall trend. For anybody new here, because I do get the sense that we do have new people in here because they're asking about Market Cipher, money flow, which is these purple and blue waves, right, which will be red and green if you have the indicator, but this indicates the overall trend, right? When money flow is crossing into the red, you could use this as a filter to understand if you're looking for lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, or if you're looking for higher highs and higher lows, right? Or higher lows and higher highs, right? So money flow indicates the overall trend, right? So anytime we have money flow in the red, we have to anticipate, well, hey, probably going to put in lower highs and lower lows, right? So when we pump, we can look for pumps, right? But we're looking to short those lower highs to continue the downtrend so we can get in high and enjoy that move down. So there you go. Quick little Market Cipher money flow sauce. All right, let's see. ETH will make millionaires. Shout out to Gen Z. I would agree with you. I'm hoping. I do hold a big bag of ETH. That's for sure not green right now. But shout out to Gen Z. I don't think ETH's going anywhere. Not a guarantee. That doesn't mean go buy ETH. But yeah, I find it very hard to believe that Ethereum's not going to be here long term. Even though there are much better solutions. Like I understand ETH is slow, ETH's expensive. I get it. That is definitely true. But I just don't know if that's the only thing, right? That's kind of that's I've heard that so many times, right? Where it's like, oh, like Solana's so much better, whatever it is, right? ETH's expensive. The gas fees are crazy. It's not going to go up, right? And I remember back in the day, like wondering the same thing, like how is this thing going to pump if it's so garbage, right? Like it's so slow. There's so many better things. And it just goes up, right? So this whole narrative of like ETH is slow, maybe it's finally caught up to it, and maybe we never see ETH come back, but I just don't fall in that camp. But I'm willing to take that risk, right? I'm not going to lose my life, my life savings if it doesn't go back up. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Let's see. Yo, shout out to John Boy. Said, Frankie, you're catching a mean glare. Oh, my God. I do have a mean glare. Yeah, that's the time change has now got this. I'm going to have to change that. I'm going to have to black out that. I'm going to have to black that out. But, yeah. God, that's pretty brutal. Shout out to John Boy. But let's see. Yeah, ETH will melt faces when it goes up. Yeah, shout out to Leedy. That's kind of my thought process, right? Like, and no one's going to care. Right? Most people who are fading ETH right now, let's say ETH does go back up in a massive way, right? None of those people are going to be interested in buying ETH until it's back up, right? So it's like if you do not think ETH is dead, right, which I personally don't think. If you don't think ETH is dead, this is when you want to be paying attention to ETH, not getting scared from it, right? Not being scared of it, right? This is where you want to be interested, right? I know it seems so simple, right? Like if you're interested in ETH down here, right? I know a lot of people got into crypto as price was pumping, right? Even like most recently here in December of 2024, I was like, finally ETH's pumping. Now I can get in, right? And they just buy the top. It's like it's a tale as old as time, right? No one cares about ETH down here. Nobody cares about any asset when it's when it's doing this, right? No one cares. It's not until you get this that people start to get interested again, right? So just to point it out, ETH is now in a situation like this. Doesn't mean it can't go lower, right? But this is where you want to pay attention, not up here. When you get these massive pumps and Bitcoin's in the news and crypto's on TV, right? You want to be sitting back in deep profit, right? You don't want to be, I got to get on my computer, man. It's the bull run. I got to get back on my computer. It's like you're getting on the computer at the wrong time. You should have been on the computer when prices were low, right? So take that for what it's worth. And now Ethereum, it's all the way down here. Don't be the people that come back in as it pumps. But people don't like to take risks. I get it. Shout out to Andu, said 5-day bull div on Polkadot. Let's check out Polkadot. Good Lord. Oh, man, Polkadot obviously all alts are crushed right now. But, yeah, let's see here. No 5-day bull div on Polkadot as of right now. If you got a massive pump, maybe this momentum wave could come up, but you do not have a higher low on your momentum waves. You have a lower low on your price action and a lower low on your momentum wave. That is not a bullish divergence. For the bull div, you want a higher low, right? You want that pinch point. These lines, if extended, would converge with each other. That's the bull div. And then the bear divs are higher highs, right? Higher high on your price action, lower high on your momentum waves, giving you that open alligator mouth, right? That's a bear div. This is your price. I know you can't read that. This is your oscillator, right? And then for the bull divs, right, you want a lower low on price action and a higher low on your momentum waves, right, or RSI. That's a bull div, right? These lines connect. These lines move away from each other. So there you go. Check out the I have tutorials on the divergences as well. Maybe I'll make an updated one because I think it's pretty old. Let's see. XRP, yeah, let's take a look at XRP real quick. Shout out to Anthony. That's Tia. That is not XRP. Where is XR Pizzle? There it is. All right, so XRP, it's a really boring day, guys, right? Like, everything just kind of chopping around. It's in its little local ranges, right? Like, no real good significant moves just yet. But yeah, I mean, levels all remain the same. Value area low, $2.05. As you guys know, that was the doorway to higher prices. What happens? We break above it, and we go into the golden pocket, which is the expected level you would push into, right? Like, once you get above that value area low, hey, maybe we'll go for that golden pocket retracement. If, maybe we come back down, test the value area low, but if we can get above that golden pocket and push into the 786 POC, that would be the next level, right? Because just like on a volume profile, once you get above the low, the laws of the volume profile state, well, once you're above the value area low, the next likely place for price to go is the POC, right? Same thing with the Fibonacci retracements, right? If you come up and reject that golden pocket, once you get above it, the next likely place for price to go is the 786. So you have your POC and your 786 sitting here, which makes it kind of like a double magnet, right? So that's kind of what I would be looking at. Key support 205. We wind up losing it. Again, it's very similar to Bitcoin where, like, you do have, like, a pretty good amount of significant levels down here, right? Golden pocket sitting at 185, right? So maybe you come back down. But, ideally, remain inside this range keeps the door open to the POC, right? And you've already tapped that golden pocket, so we could potentially even take this off the chart, right? So if we stay inside this range, next target would be 238 to 241 at the POC 786. And then once we flip that to support, we could potentially get that move to the value area high. Now, what are the chances that we stay inside this range? Well, that might be a little bit of a different story, right? 90-minute money flow starting to come to the downside here. And your daily red dot is looking to print. Not quite a market cipher B116 strategy setting up just yet. But just like Bitcoin, right? All this stuff is going to look the same as Bitcoin. 16-hour red dot, 1 hour money flow crossing over into the red. This is a little bit more bearish in the short term, right? Potentially calling for this 1 hour trend to continue to the downside, right? So in this case, more often than not, you are going to be better off looking for a retracement to the upside to reject and continue your downtrend, right? So that's kind of the bearish shorter time frame situation for XRP, but the key levels all remain the same. 205, and then you deviate below this. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, and then to the upside, next major target if you break above the golden pocket, 237, 237 all the way up to about 241. But I don't really like this locally. I don't like this money flow. So I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of pull back a little bit more here on the lower time frames. 12-hour red dot, 45-minute money flow crossover into the red. Same thing, right? So you have two bearish market cipher B116 strategies. Could potentially give us a little bit more of a move down. Let me see. Do we have any? Where's our next? Yeah, you have a weekly level here, which would be nice to hold. Let me pull that up real quick. Bada boom. Come back over here. All right, so you have a weekly. You have a daily. You have another daily down there. Let's pull this full golden pocket from the low to the high. No confluence on that. Start it from the start of the move up. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest. There's not a lot of whoops. Yeah, value area low, anchored VWAP confluence. Pull it to the actual low here. Yeah, so I would potentially, if we lose that value area low, I'd watch this daily golden pocket weekly zone between 196 and 190, and then you lose that. 786 is your last bet, right? Your last chance. You wind up losing that 786. Definitely going to be more bearish. But locally here, hopefully you can, either hold this value area low or maybe even hold this fib level here. But this is really where the confluence is for the most part. So lose the value area low. That's the zone I would be watching. 786, there's really nothing there. I could try to pull up some MPOCs real quick. There we go. Pull up the daily MPOCs. Yeah, we have no MPOCs below on the daily. Let's check the weekly. Might have a weekly MPOC there, actually. Yeah. No, that's the current week. Oh, no, that's previous week. Yeah, so you do have a weekly MPOC here. Let me just... Yeah, right here. Weekly MPOC. There you go. So you do have some confluence here. Now we can actually update these levels. So, yeah, I would say value area low, obviously always going to be key support. And then I would probably bring weekly MPOC, daily anchored VWAP. This actually is not looking too bad. That's sitting between $2 and $1.96. And then you have your golden pocket weekly sitting down here. That's your next area of confluence. And then other than that, like these would be the two zones. Still nothing on the 786. And then you lose that 786. That'd kind of be the line in the sand for me, personally, to look for much more downside. So these are the key levels I would be looking at. You could take them off the side of the chart here. Those are the key levels. If we lose the value area low, that I'd be looking at. So there you go. But yeah, daily VWAP cooling off. So not impossible to kind of cool off here a little bit over the medium term. So there you go. Let's see. When's the Binance bound? Shout out to Michael. Let's see. Like number 2 is mine. Shout out to Judge. Let's see. Yo, let's smash that like button. It's just 1 second. Shout out to Lord. Don't forget to smash that like button, guys. If you like this free analysis, go ahead and smash that like button. It helps the channel out immensely. Let's Ondo. Shout out to Gen Z. Yeah, we can take a look at Ondo. No problemo. Let's see. Yeah, I would look for something like this. I would ideally like to hold that value area low here on XRP. Wick down, maybe hold some of that, and then continue up. The one thing about XRP here is, you don't have like the 2-day. You don't have the 2-day local bull divs here. Money flow trying to come back up here, or maybe not. Hang on. Never mind. Coming back out. So yeah, money flow still kind of looks like on the 2-day. But yeah, and you don't have the bull divs, which again doesn't mean that it can't come up. But yeah, you just don't have any of the bull divs. But I would really like to see if we could hold that value area low. That would look nice, right? Come up here, similar to Bitcoin, right? Like Bitcoin takes its local range lows and then continues up to its macro value area high. That could be like XRP losing this low very slightly, tapping a weekly naked point of control and coming up, or maybe just holding the value area low and coming up. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But those are the key levels I'd be looking at. I just don't love money flow here. So, locally, I think maybe you can continue down. Let's see. All right, let's continue on here. Ondo, Gen Z, did you ask for Ondo? Yeah, we'll take a look at Ondo in a second. Bada boom, bada bing. Frankie went moon. Shout out to Base Bailey. Moon in 35 minutes. We're going to go to the moon. No problem. Easy. Easy work. Easy work. Somebody said there's no tariffs on likes. Oh, God. All right, let's take a quick look at Ondo. Bada boom. Oh, Ondo getting rejected. I would like to start a new chart here on Ondo, but let's see. Just going to remove everything. I'm going to start fresh here. Yeah, so you got the POC retest. Trying to pull the significant ranges here. And hilariously enough, got this old range from all the way back in 2024 that we are kind of wiggling around in right now. These previous value areas very often get respected. You can even see that POC. Respected, 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 respected. Value area low, respected. Get back into the value area low. Back to the value area high. Flip the POC. Breakout, right? And now we are pretty much bing-bonging around in this local range. It's pretty crazy. This is for 2024. Get back into the range. Bearish retest the value area high. POC value area low. Hold the low. Back to the POC. Bing-bong around. Finally make it to the high. Deviate above the high. Back into the range. Back to the POC. Play around. Back to the low. Deviate below the low. Back to the POC. Back to the high, right? So I would be looking at this range, right? There's really no other, you have this volume profile right here, but it's not really getting respected, right? Like, we're not trading in that, right? We kind of slipped into it and we left it. So here are some local levels I would be looking at on Ondo. Oh, man, I don't want to go all the way back here to fix this box, but it's going to bother me. All right, so pull this fib real quick. So 786 value area low confluence. Excuse me. I would watch that as key support. But as of right now, based off the volume profile, we deviated above the high, couldn't get back out. POC very likely, right? Lose that POC. I'd watch the golden pocket sitting at 77 cents. Lose the golden pocket. I'd look for the value area low 786 at 73 cents. Simply put, right? Try to pull up some MPOCs real quick. No daily MPOCs below. Interesting. That's kind of weird. Huh. All right. Let's check the weekly. Dang, no weeklies either. Okay. Let's check the monthly. Boom. No monthly either. All right. Well, dang. Not a lot of MPOCs here. But I will take the daily level here. Boom. 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 Take the weeklies. Okay, so locally, you have your daily POC. This would be an honorable mention. Once you lose that POC, though, again, just because we've gotten the full rotation from the low to the POC to the high, deviated above the high, lose that daily, golden pocket, and honestly, not a lot of confluence here, right? We don't really have a lot of confluence. Fast moves up. Whoops. Fast moves up oftentimes lead to fast moves down, right? So we want to break them below here. We might get the fast move down. Let's pull up the VPVR. Yeah, lose that POC, lose this high volume node. Probably, I would be expecting value area low because there's just not a lot of confluence on the golden pocket. So it is there. You could bounce from it, but I don't love it. I'd rather see a move down to the value area low where you have the weekly and the 786 and the value area low all confluent with each other, right? So there's your local value area. Hopefully you don't, again, I don't know. You lose that I would look for the fill, right? Personally, unless you just bounce off the POC. And then you probably just kind of continue in this local range right here. But overall, 2-day VWAP coming down, looking for a daily red dot too. Like, you print that daily red dot. What's that 90-minute money flow doing? In the red already. Daily red dots with a 90-minute money flow crossover would make you anticipate the continuation of a downtrend. So those are the key levels I would look at below. On Ondo, pretty simple. That's what I'd be looking at. Worst case, or not, I wouldn't say worst case, but like in the bearish case, you come all the way down to the low. Maybe you sweep below it. But you can see, right? This is why we use the volume profiles. Come below the low, back to the POC, back to the high. Or not even, right? From the low to the POC. Bing, bong, bing, bong, bing, bong. But eventually you do come to the high. Deviation, back in, POC, value area low. So on and so forth, right? Now, if we had money flow coming into the green with a daily green dot, I'd be much more likely to look for a breakout here and a continuation of that uptrend. But that daily red dot definitely has the power to push you at least to the POC, if not lower. So those are the levels I would look at for Ondo. Shout out to Gen Z. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Catch up on chat here. Shout out to Dalal. I don't know how to say that first name, but said, can you take a look at Pepe? Yeah, we could try to take a look at Pepe. Tip of the year, if someone you don't know comes and parks under your tent at the game, just pack up the tent and belongings and move. Shout out to Charles. I don't know what that's in reference to, but shout out to you, bro. It doesn't sound like a bad idea. Let's see. Is BTC breaking the POC? Let's come back over to our actual chart here. Now, where is my... What the heck happened to my actual chart? Did I accidentally... I'll just look at this real quick. No, not breaking the major POC just yet. Approaching, though. Approaching. 83,156. This is the premium shared chart, though, so I don't want to mess with this. But yeah, let's take a quick look at Pepe. I don't believe I have a Pepe chart because we very rarely look at it. Yeah, we'll look at the Binance chart here. So very simply, like what I would look at here on Pepe is this value area. Pretty simple, honestly. Low, POC, value area high. Yeah, these levels are pretty well respected. I like this range. Yeah, money flow on the daily is coming up on Pepe slightly. Starting to trend to the upside. It's kind of flat here, but it is coming to the... It's going in the right direction. It's going in the right direction. 3-day green dot is confirmed. No bull div, unfortunately, but you do have the green dot. 6-day or 5-day green dot printing. 6-day kind of stuck. Weekly, can't look at. So, yeah, I'll give you the key levels. I mean, we take a look at the daily. VWAP is also coming down. So money flow is looking good, meaning the trend might be intact, hopefully, for a continuation up through the profile. But that VWAP could cool you off a little bit in the meantime. But the key levels I would look at here, other than that, honestly, like 16-hour red dot is confirmed. Yeah, 1 hour money flow in the red. Yeah, directionally, it's a little bit difficult, but I'll give you the key levels here. Value area low sitting at 647, POC sitting at 802, and then the value area high sitting at 1077. So as long as you remain inside this range, even if you don't get the full fill, right? More often than not, if you deviate below the low, if you can get confirmation, get back into the value area low, flip it to support, at least the POC is likely. And then eventually, it is also likely to see the value area high. But even if you don't get the full fill of the range, you very likely will get sucked up towards that POC. The POC is the strongest magnet within the profile, right? It's why we cling to it so much, right? So it's the strongest magnet in the profile. It's the area where the most volume was transacted. Simply put, right? So stay above that value area low, get sucked up towards that POC, flip the POC, look to go to the value area high, right? But we would really, I would be careful. Once you print that red dot, you'll probably get a significant retracement. So depending on where price comes on, up until when that happens, I would watch that daily red dot for a cool off. But as long as you can stay up in here, could look good for come up to the next targets here in the profile. So there you go. Let's see. All right. I didn't say this in the beginning of the stream, guys, but I actually have somewhere to be. I am sick of saying I'm going to do a short stream and not doing a short stream. So I didn't mention it today, and I am actually going to hop out about 50 minutes early. But that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream, guys. I have somewhere to be right now. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Pretty boring day on Bitcoin. Went sideways. Watch those key levels. If you're just tuning in, scrub to the beginning of the stream. Get all the key levels, all the key volume profiles, and all the areas where I'm looking for bounces and rejections. Shout out to the CandleMafia. Shout out to Erica. Shout out to CJ. Shout out to Mark Dutch. Shout out to Stupid Bitcoin. Jennifer. Poster Bling. Poster Bitbag. Did you change your name? Shout out to Poster Bitbag. Shout out to Michael. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Stop. Show the mods some love on your way out and smash that like button if you have not already. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if there's any crazy moves, maybe I'll drop a market update. But that's all I got. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Coach, what's next for me, Joe? I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the f*** is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, though they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Shout out to James, says 86 to 83K is not sideways for Bitcoin. True. But 83 to 86 to 83 to 86 to 83 is sideways. Shout out to James. Shout out to the CandleMafia. Thank you guys for being here. I'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same time. Right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frank Candles YouTube channel. That's all I got. Frank Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on the road, hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on the road, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on the road, hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal